Hi everyone, I am here to present to you the lifelong moral development, the psychological components of personal growth in terms of environment, vital aspects, and cognitive aspects. I am Shiela Garnica, BSEd RE3. Let's discuss about the theories of moral development through a timeline. Freud, 1962. According to Freud, moral development proceeds when the individual's selfish desires are repressed and replaced by the values of important socializing agents in one's life. Kohlberg, 1963. Kohlberg argued that development proceeds from a selfish desire to avoid punishment, to a concern for group functioning, to a concern for a consistent application of universal ethical principles. Piaget, 1965. He focused on the individual's construal, and interpretation of morality from a social cognitive and social emotional perspective. Skinner, 1972. In contrast to Freud's notion of a struggle between internal and external forces, Skinner focused on the power of external forces to shape the individual's development. Turrell, 1983. He argued for a social domain approach to social cognition, delineating how individuals differentiate moral, societal, and psychological concepts from early in development throughout lifespan. Let's proceed to the Freud's theory of moral development. Sigmund Freud, the famed psychoanalyst, believed that the children develop moral concern late in the preschool years as the byproduct of resolution of Oedipus complex in boys and Electra complex in girls. Freud believed that a child's morality takes the form of superego, a mental structure that consciously guides the child's behavior. The superego contains both conscience that prohibits certain behaviors and ego ideal that provides the children with the internal image that the child strives to become. Violating the conscience or not living up to the ego ideal is punished by conscious unconscious guilt, a debilitating psychological state that determines the child's ability to think or behave rationally. Let's go to the Skinner's theory of moral development. In the stage of adolescence, based on his theory of behaviorism, Skinner also looks at how the child functions and how the society or the environment affects it. He believes that the socializing with others is primary proponent of moral development. Piaget believed that it was necessary to study both how morality manifests in the child's world as well as the factors that contribute to the emergence of central moral concepts such as welfare, justice, and rights. Piaget found that the young children were focused on authority mandates and that with age, children becomes autonomous, evaluating action from a set of independent principles of morality. Stages of moral development according to Piaget. Stage 1, the pre-moral, 0 to 5 years. Children have a little understanding of rules as they cannot carry out complex mental operations. Behavior is regulated from outside the child, which is the sensory motor and pre-operational. Stage 2, the heteronomous morality or moral realism, 5 to 9 years. Rules are rigid and given by adults, parents, teachers, and God. Rules will tell what is good and right. Consciousness dictates the severity of a behavior, not the intention. In stage 3, the autonomous morality or moral relativism, 10 years upwards. This phase or stage is more common after one has matured and is no longer a child. In this stage, people begin to view the intentions behind actions as more important than their consequences. Rules are changeable under certain circumstances and mutual consent. Let's proceed to Kohlberg's theory of moral development. He extended upon the foundation that Piaget built regarding moral and cognitive development. Kohlberg, like Piaget, was interested in moral reasoning. Moral reasoning does not necessarily equate to moral behavior. Holding a particular belief does not mean that our behavior will always be consistent with the belief. To develop this theory, Kohlberg posed moral dilemmas to people of all ages, and then he realized their answers to find evidence of their particular stage of moral development. According to Kohlberg, an individual progresses from the capacity for pre-conventional morality before age 9 to the capacity for the conventional morality the early adolescence, and toward attaining post-conventional morality once formal operational thought is attained, which only a few fully achieve. To better understand the theory of Kohlberg's moral development, let's watch this video.
Now, today's topic is Lawrence Kohlberg's theory of moral development. Kohlberg's research focused on giving people hypothetical moral dilemmas. So I'm going to start by giving you one of Kohlberg's most famous hypothetical moral dilemmas, Heinz and the drug. So here's Heinz and his wife Clara. Clara gets very sick and goes to see the doctor. The doctor tells her that she has a life-threatening illness and has only a month to live unless she gets a special medication that is only available at certain pharmacies. Clara went to the pharmacy to get Clara's prescription, but unfortunately they found out the prescription cost $10,000, and they do not have $10,000, nor do they have good health insurance. So they had to leave the pharmacy without Clara's prescription. Clara and Heinz went to 10 banks, and none of them would give them a loan for $10,000 to buy Clara's medication. Now Heinz has thought of stealing the drug from the pharmacy. If you were Heinz, would you steal the drug to save your wife? So I want you to write down, if you were Heinz, would you steal the drug, yes or no? And then the second question is, why or why not? Kohlberg would give hypothetical moral dilemmas like Heinz and the drug to the same person when they're a child, an adolescent, a young adult, and an older adult, hoping to find a pattern in their responding as they aged. This is called longitudinal research. As people age, Kohlberg found a pattern in how people justified why they wouldn't steal the drug. Kohlberg was able to demonstrate this pattern with other hypothetical moral dilemmas. This would lay the groundwork for his theory of moral development. Kohlberg's theory consists of 3 levels and 6 stages. The first level is the pre-conventional level. Stage 1 is the avoid punishment stage. This means the person will justify their response by avoiding punishment. Like, I don't want to steal the drug because I don't want to go to jail. Stage 2, and the last stage of the pre-conventional level, is considered the what's in it for me stage. So, for example, someone in stage 2 would say, I would steal the drug because if I steal the drug and my wife lives, I will be considered a hero. What's in it for me? I'll be a hero, so I should steal the drug. Level 2 is the conventional stage. Stage 3 is the first stage of the conventional stage. It focuses on rules and norms. Someone in stage 3 would say, I wouldn't steal the drug because a good boy or girl doesn't steal. Or I would steal the drug because a good husband would steal to save his wife's life. Stage 4 is a response that includes following the rules and maintaining societal norms. For example, someone in stage 4 would say, I wouldn't steal the drug because it's against the law. Or, I would steal the drug because most honest people would steal to save their wives' lives. Carol Gilligan, one of Kohlberg's students, believed that Kohlberg's theory was biased against females. For example, she believed that females were more likely to prefer stage 3, a care relationship orientation of morality, whereas males were more likely to prefer stage 4, which is a justice orientation of morality. According to Gilligan, stage 3 should be equal to stage 4. However, Kohlberg disagreed. Level 3 is the post-conventional level. Many people do not reach the post-conventional level. Stage 5 is defined by social contracts. So, for example, someone in stage 5 would say, I would not steal because respect of personal property ownership is an important part of maintaining laws and societal order. Someone in stage 5 may also say, I would steal the drug because a law cannot justify losing a human life. Stage 6 is the Ethical Principle Association. For example, someone in stage 6 would say, saving the most amount of lives possible is always the best decision, so I would steal the drug. Now, very little people fall into stage 6, but Kohlberg swore that it existed.
Let's move on to Rell's theory of moral development. Moral domain theory has proposed that individuals acquire moral concepts about fairness, others' welfare, and rights, beginning in early childhood, and in that this knowledge develops during childhood and adolescence. Moral domain theory proposes that moral reasoning is distinct from other forms of social knowledge such as societal and psychological knowledge. Eliot Torrell outlined three domains of knowledge, which are the moral, societal, and psychological. The moral is the principle of how individuals ought to treat one another. The societal is the regulation designed to promote smooth functioning of social groups and institutions, and the psychological, an understanding of self, others, and beliefs about autonomy and individuality. And that's the end of my presentation.